and I'm a Rotary member at Hamilton, the Hamilton Club AM downtown. So I know all the great benefits of Rotary and really believe in it. But also this club is super special because this is where Dr. Kemp came from. So yeah, so that's why we want to be on. I have to leave at 10:30 if you go longer because I have to do a live video. Um, yes, but that's why we're here.
Claire, this is Wayne.
Hi, Wayne.
I'd like to congratulate you on your editorial in this morning's Spectator. Very thoughtful comments that you made.
Thank you. Yeah, it is really hard on the team. Like it is hard to witness, at end of life.
You mentioned in your article that the volunteers that normally assist you aren't able to come in.
Yeah.
Do you have enough staff to look after your patients?
We do have enough staff because all of our admin staff are now over on the residential side. So we've had to cut a lot of things because we don't have visitors coming in as much. We've shut down our day program. There's a lot of the things that we really call is like the heart of our home that have really been shut down, and that's really what the volunteers give us. So I will say that we are bare bones for sure. We're COVID free. We're really super happy about that. So we've done all kinds of things to increase our cleanings to control infection if there is any, and then all of our admin staff are doing the screeners, and everyone just stepped in. So it's a great team, that part, but it is hard. It's like, we let 2 people come in to visit their loved one and the rest have to stand outside. And like I said in the article, I got a call in the middle of the night from my nurses just begging me to let the family member in because he was sobbing at the window. And that's the part that's breaking our heart. But at the same time, it's required. Like it just is, because if we got as you know, in St. Peter's and Emmanuel House Hospice, they both had outbreaks, but then you shut down for everyone. So, it's necessary but hard. Definitely.
Yes. Yeah.
It seems like there's going to be no end to it, really, because from what I'm hearing, there's never been a coronavirus that they've made an antidote for, or a vaccine for. So,
yeah.
What's the end game here?
Well, you keep hearing in the government and different places about our new normal when we open up. So we're all waiting to hear what new normal is. But yeah, unless they have like some kind of intervention that can mitigate the progression of the illness, like they don't have anything that's going to prevent you from getting it. But if they can get a treatment option that won't get you to the place where you need a ventilator or it might kill you, that will manage just the symptoms while you get better. We're going to be in places where they think if they open up, they'll only allow congregations of 10 people at a time, and also the idea of people wearing masks more often and keeping up the screening, such as washing your hands and wearing the mask are just going to be part of our new normal. But it's, so I think.
How did SARS disappear? On this one, they're not saying that it will disappear the same way.
Not quite sure how SARS was kind of wiped out, but they were able to localize it. And that's when you heard the governments talking about that, they wanted to localize it to people who were just traveling, and they were really trying to make sure that it only stayed in that group. But what happened is it now is in the community. So what's unique about this virus is that it's being spread in the community at large, where SARS, you really had to have direct contact with the person who was sick in order for you to get it. So that's how it was able to be contained a little bit better than this one. But yeah. So.
Mm-hmm.
I hear some stats, in the states, at least, that I think New York State, they think 20% of the people have the antibodies.
Yeah, there is that idea that, what some people call as herd mentality around you expose people and then therefore then you won't get as worse symptoms. It's true and not true, and certainly the Federal Medical Officer of Health doesn't support it because you'll wipe out huge parts of the population in order to get that piece, and that's why you know, the isolation is the best to prevent it. And the idea that only sick people get it, and somehow that, you know, that's okay. I think, you know, we want to stay away from that kind of thinking that some people have. You know, so, but the US is definitely the one that's affecting us the most, because when we first became infected, it wasn't from China, it was really from folks coming in from the US. So if the US doesn't really control, you know, what it's doing down there, opening up our borders will open us up to things too. So yeah, there's lots of things, you know.
Seems like we're going to be open on the 20th of May, but from what I see.
Yeah, the 31st for sure. They're looking at some kind of open. They're going to open up the parks, and the community gardens are open, which I have one, so I'm happy about that. But it would be nice to see the parks open. And
we'll be golfing soon.
yes, yes. I
Dan's covered.
actually asked the mayor that. I had him on the phone the other day, and I was like, "Do you think that we could at least golf?" And he thought, "Well, maybe the
I
golf."
have to disappear for a minute. Take a phone call.
Yes, yep. They think that the golf courses might open, but the clubhouses might stay shut.
Yeah.
So anyway.
Claire, I just wanted to ask you, with everything going on, what about your funding from the province? Are you still getting it?
Yeah, we're only 50% funded, so we raise $1.3 million a year out of our fundraising just to keep us going. So we have reached out to some of the stuff that the government has offered at the federal level and provincial level, because definitely donations, and that's something Danielle could certainly speak to, are down. You know, because you know, you've got a lot of people in stressful situations themselves, and so our donations will definitely go down, and our events, oops, somebody's crashing, we had to cancel our paint the town red event, and a whole bunch of other events, right? So yeah, definitely it's tough. Yeah, but so that's why this was so beautiful when you called me and you said, you know, yeah, we were like, wow, this is like a super gift in this time.
Well, we were
Incredibly
going to
grateful.
give it to you in person, but you know, the circumstances don't allow it. So.
Yeah.
So I remember having the conversation, but I can't remember, what did we earmark the money for? Was it just a general donation?
I think that we talked about, and I'll let Danielle speak about this. We've been moving forward with a lot of children's bereavement. So Danielle, do you want to speak to that?
Sure. So we, over the last few years, have really been focused on expanding our programs to include families and children. And we were hoping to put this money towards continuing to grow those programs. Our long-term goal is to build a pediatric hospice with our partners at Hamilton Health Sciences. And in the short term, we had started a pediatric day wellness program at the hospice, which is obviously on hold right now. But really trying to, you know, in speaking with the Children's Hospital, McMaster, we know that there's a huge gap in serving children and families who have seriously ill children. So, you know, we're really concentrated on expanding our programs to include to include the children and whatnot. We have really grown beautiful programs called Support Over Supper for our cooking up there and our camp and whatnot, and we want to continue to expand on those. And your support will immensely help us do that.
Thank you. I'm typing as I'm listening, so I'm not ignoring you. I'm trying to make sure I get it all down.
You mentioned, Claire, the hospice at St. Peter's, and I think there was another one you mentioned.
Emmanuel House, Good Shepherd, Emmanuel House.
Yeah. Are those the three hospice facilities in the greater Hamilton area?
Yes, there's St. Peter's, which has got complex care and palliative, and Emmanuel House is a 10-bed sort of a long-term and palliative, and then there is McNally in Grimsby, area. That's a 6-bed program. And then in Dundas, they're looking at opening up another one at the villa. So they were hoping to have that open by September, which will really help serve, because to really serve the Hamilton population, we would need about 100 beds, and we're not close to that. But you know, as Danielle was talking about, adults have this kind of care, and nobody really wants to think about, you know, children at end of life, or having serious illness where they're palliative. But Hamilton Health Sciences serves a bigger region than the Children's Hospital in Ottawa, and Ottawa has a children's hospice, and Toronto Sick Kids has a children's hospice attached to it, and Hamilton, it doesn't. And that's why when we look at end of life, traditionally people always think that it's, you know, folks who are in later stage of life, but in actual fact, the average age of someone passing with us is 69. And oftentimes we have 40-year-olds and 30-year-olds, and last year we had a 21-year-old. So there is a deep need in this community to serve children, definitely. And yeah.
I live in Burlington, and I think the
Carpenter Hospice.
the Carpenter Hospice,
Yes.
they've had some difficulty with flooding in the recent past, have they not?
Yeah. Yes, they were building. They're building their new facility to sort of expand their beds there, and in their current facility, they had a flood. Like their sprinkler system just went off, and it's flooded their whole basement. So they had to evacuate for. They were evacuated for like 3 months, and then Joe Brandt Hospital allowed them to move some of their patients into their hospital. But when COVID struck, they had to push them out of the hospital because they needed that for their isolation wing. And so right now in Burlington, there is no hospice. They're hoping to open up in about 3 weeks again because they got their new building. But we've been taking some Burlington patients.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Any other comments? Oh, Jim, you're on mute. I thought it was a little quiet in here today. Or how's that?
Okay,
Jim's
I'm
still
going.
on the phone, perhaps.
Yeah,
No, he's
I'm
back. I just looked up
okay.
and noticed I had him on mute.
No, I'm just going to go back to the children's need. How many children would be involved in a palliative situation?
Well, in Hamilton, we know that we would need a 10-bed, just like an adult service, because oftentimes as children are growing, they might be palliative for a longer period of time. And I'm just trying to think of my numbers on the top of my head. There is 500,000 children that we serve in the Hamilton area. They're not all sick. In Ottawa, there is 400,000 children, and Hamilton has a population of children. They serve more children, like I said, than Ottawa does. And I just don't have the numbers off the top of my head for that. But we definitely know that a 10-bed program is necessary to support the family.
Where do they go now? What happens now?
Danielle?
So the only options right now within our area are that families keep their child at home, or they'll be in the hospital. So a lot of what the care that's being done, we don't have a lot of respite for families in our area. And that's, as Claire mentioned, families with seriously ill children may be born with a neurological problem or genetic disorder or whatever seriously ill disease, and they're living longer with medical interventions and whatnot now. And so families need a lot of respite, and we don't have anything in our area at all. And as Claire mentioned, you know, we are the only city that has a pediatric hospital and does not have a pediatric hospice. So, so part of that 10 bed, although it would include life care as well for families, because the only options right now are home or hospital, would be for respite as well.
Would the vision to be to have it at the same location as Bob Kemp, or
No,
advantage to that?
no. Right now we're, Claire, I can let you speak to the land and whatnot if you.
Okay. We've been working with Hamilton Health Sciences to see if there's some land within their parameters that we could build on their site, and so we're looking at that option. They have proposed one site, but it's a bit small, so we're just re-looking at that piece. But what we've heard from families is that they want to be close to the hospital. Because, you know, if something were to happen where, you know, they're doing some interventions, but then they need a respite, it's a close drive. They would like to be in an area that feels like a community. Oops, sorry. Yeah, so we're working on that. We've had some other people talk about other land options that might be available in the city, but, you know, if we got it with Hamilton Health Sciences, I think that's the best route to go, because it wouldn't cost us any money and it would bring down our costing. We did an analysis to be up on the mountain. There's not enough parking on the mountain. It's harder for people to get to. There are other services that they might need. So it would be downtown, either at the general site or at the MAC site, because there is talk in, you know, 10 years or so that the MAC hospital, Children's Hospital, will be rebuilt down at the general site. So that's kind of where we're kind of looking. And when we look at a build, it looks at about a $20 million build to do it all together. And we've had some preliminary discussions with some philanthropists out there who do think that they have some ability to support this project at that level, or will find ways to reduce the cost, such as getting free land. So yeah, that's where we're at. Yeah.
Sounds good.
Yeah, it's exciting. It's very exciting.
Mm-hmm.
And it's also exciting for us because we now have a children's therapist with us, where we never had a children's therapist at the hospice before. But by now having one, we can support the children who are losing their parents. Like just last week, we had a mom who passed away who had a child who was 4, 6, and 12. And then we're staying with them longer than we were before. And that's why we've introduced a lot more therapy games for kids specifically. And if you look on our website, even our virtual hospice thing, we're doing things that are engaging kids. And sadly, this year we do a Camp Keaton every year that's named after a local boy here who passed away. We couldn't do it this year just because of COVID. So we had to cancel our camp. So we're looking at doing some things in the fall with those families.
That area around the general hospital is night and day from what it was 10 years ago. There's been so much development there.
Yeah, and I think there's a lot more attraction in that area for sure. Yes, it's a bit weird for us because, you know, when I was first thinking of the Children's Hospice, I saw the new development they were doing down there by the water, and I thought, well, wouldn't it be beautiful for the family to be by the water? But that land is very expensive down there, so would have thought at the north end.
You know, I did this is off the topic, but a couple days ago I went on CRA, the website, not CRA, the website for the real estate, whatever it's called.
Oh yeah.
I looked from Niagara Falls, Lake Erie, Lake Ontario, all the way up to Cambridge. There was only 61 places under $300,000 in that whole area listed.
Yeah, it's
crazy.
Amazing. It is crazy. Yeah, so that makes it a little more challenging, but also I think Hamilton Health Sciences, you know, being such a strong partner, we really want to make this sort of an integrated kind of program with Bob Kemp and what we do, so that it strongly supports the family. So I think it's beautiful, and I think it really, for any of you who may have known Dr. Kemp or know his family, certainly Linda, his daughter, supports what we're doing. But we're starting in very similar ways that Dr. Kemp started. One is, like 3 years ago, a pediatric palliative care physician in Hamilton came to us and said, "What are you doing for children?" And we were like, "Well, we don't serve children." And quite frankly, we were, it wasn't on our radar, because as a parent, that's the last thing I want to think about, that my child could possibly be sick and pass away. So he really brought the information to us. He even brought the data, the research that he came, and then he really started to galvanize, and we said, well, this just makes sense. Like, Dr. Kemp's vision was ensuring that everybody was supported, and we're supporting adults, so we need to support the children. So I think it's the right place, and we're going to be expanding our bereavement programs, because one of the things that we've had really benefit in is we give people who have a palliative death some really good support around bereavement, but there are folks who have experience of more workplace injury deaths, or car accidents, death by suicide, other kind of tragic deaths that aren't getting the kind of bereavement support they need. So we want to make sure that we're supporting all the bereaved folks in the community.
Sounds good.
Yeah, I think it makes sense to have it tied in as closely as possible with the Children's Hospital.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Comments? Mr. President?
Yeah, don't send funny messages when we're having a serious discussion. So my facial expressions change.
Sorry, I didn't think it was that funny, but it was. He sends me a text message. I can't get my computer to work. Apparently, I need a microphone, camera, and speakers to go on Zoom. So I was like, okay, I'll let the group know. Sorry.
That's funny.
So why did we change this day? Anyway.
Yeah, exactly. He was all up in arms about Wednesdays. So I'd like to thank Claire for coming out, and Danielle.
Thank you for having us, for sure.
Yeah, Claire, while you're on there, what's happening with your club? How active are they with this
Pediatrics?
virus around us?
Well, we're doing Zoom meetings. We've had to cancel our barbecue, but we're thinking of new things to do for sure around fundraising, of course. And then we've also decided to do some little things that we can do to support other businesses. So one night we had an evening where we all got together and we ordered from one restaurant, and we let them know that it was from the Rotary Club. So those are different ways that we're really trying to reach out to support the businesses that are really affected. That's one of the things that we're doing. And then our Imagine in the Park, we had to cancel that this year, so that was really sad. And we're thinking of maybe even doing some, because we do a reading program, maybe start to do our reading program online. Those are some of the things that we're doing. As for supporting different charities, we did well last year on our event last year, so we think we have enough to support charities this year. But we're most certainly thinking about, we've had a conversation for a long time about, should we always have like a surplus a little bit for these bad times where we can't do, and so it certainly is raising that question up for the club around having that piece. So those are the things that we're working through. I'm going to be on the board next year. Start my terms. See how that works. I did, yeah. But yeah, it's a good club. So I think we're doing some really good things.
We have a really small club, and everybody you see is on our board.
Well, that's good. Sometimes, small groups get big things. Like, it's interesting because I went to the Rotary of Ancaster, and I used to go up to visit the Rotary of Ancaster a long time ago. They had a huge club, and they do that big event, the autumn stroll that I go to every year, and they raise a lot of money, but their numbers, like their membership is down, but they're still doing a great event. So yeah.
Well, I know you need to run, so if you need to log off, you're more than welcome to do that, ladies.
Okay. Well, thank you, guys.
Thank you for
Thank
coming.
you
very much.
Yep. We'll send you a letter too. Okay.
Excellent.
Bye, guys.
Thanks for coming.
So I put a little post out on Facebook that we were chatting, and I took a picture of all of you, just so you know, explaining to them what we were talking about. It's on the Rotary Facebook page.
You're becoming more Zoom sophisticated.
Trying. I've got a lot of lessons from the computer kids. We had a dance
why
party. We had a dance party
why,
on Saturday night with about 20 kids.
Right.
And
why,
we
why
got,
don't you send the photo into the for the district newsletter?
I'll do that.
Yeah, and say, and a thing about what we were talking about the hospice. And
Okay.
Jim, that the message you sent or the email, the
Yeah.
use of social media to increase your impact, so that's worthwhile. Eh?
I thought it was, yeah. I thought it was very good. It's on for an hour every Tuesday, did I say?
Tuesday,
Yep.
yeah.
Yeah, and I think you get an invitation. Did everybody get an invitation from
I did.
You did? Yeah.
I did. Yeah.
And so there were 63 people on the thing. Now, only about 3 or 4 people had any input into it, but there were people like Ann Birmingham was on it, and another guy I know from downtown, and it was the two districts, the 7080, which is the one from Burlington. They were involved in it too, and the gal that gave the talk was from Fredonia, and it was about well, she lost me early on in the game because I didn't know what she was talking about. Paul would probably understand what she was talking about, but yeah, it was very good, and it's over in about an hour. If you can get our talkative district governor to shut up and get off. He dragged it over the hour a little bit, but he's who he is, and that's yeah. So he had a couple of words. So it's very good. Yeah. Now I don't know what the topic is next week. Whether it's about the same thing, I don't know. So I think it's worth hooking up to if you can.
That's the one I tuned into the week before,
Yeah,
where they were talking about using that online system that the downtown Rotary had come up with. So they presented about that. It was an online money system. It's very much like what we watched on Gigit.
Yeah.
But it was a downtown Hamilton Rotary created program, and it only cost them $8,000.
Well, how nice. Well, they have the money, we don't.
So it was an interesting conversation. They shut me down really quick when I asked a couple questions. So I just kind of sat back and listened. Yeah.
Well, she was talking about a system that you register into the system, and with one click, your statement goes to Facebook and Instagram and all of these other platforms in one shot.
I used to be on one, and that's what I used. And then they changed all the rules in Facebook. So I went away from it. Facebook changed it. It was called TweetDeck. Is that the one that she was talking? No. Sorry.
There's also something called, I think, Teamsy or something like that. They do that for you.
Yeah, so I used to do that where it sent it to Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and MySpace at the time. And then I kept using it up until about 6 months ago. And then I was on Twitter the one day, and none of our posts that I had put on Facebook went to Twitter. Facebook had shut down the ability for it to do that, and I hadn't checked.
Right. Yeah.
So
yeah, it was something. That's what she was talking about. Now, I don't think she went into any cost factor. Whether there's a cost to join it, I don't know. So maybe it'll come up again, and maybe it's not that important.
Okay. Well, as far as this goes, I can make anybody the manager of this Zoom meeting. I paid for a 1-year Zoom Pro thing. It was like $200. So they won't cut us off in that 45 minutes or 40 minutes that they gave us. Just so you know, but I have to be online to make it work because it's my account.
Okay.
Wow.
Interesting.
Awful kind
Well,
of you, Paul.
last week we were in the middle of a conversation, I think, and it cut us all out. And I was
Yeah.
like, "What's going on?" And then I did a little research and said, "Oh, they want us to pay if we go too long." So now we can have as many meetings as we want, up to 200 people, for as long as we want.
It's pretty amazing with
Okay,
200
and
people on them.
is that an annual fee? So why don't we
Oh no,
pay?
I'm going to use it because I've already used it 4 times with robots and work and with a business group I have.
Well, we
Okay.
could be a portion of that.
Yeah.
No, that's fine. It's like $12 a month or something. Don't worry about it. I just want to let you know why we're not getting cut off anymore. So if you're
okay.
expecting to get cut off so you can go back to work, you're just going to have to sign up.
Okay, so is there anything else on that sort of topic, social media and getting impact statements out, or what statements do we want to get out? Or, yeah, is there any other discussion on that?
No, I think I need to get on the website and post articles. But I'm spending a lot of time on the computer lately, and I keep forgetting to come to Rotary to get that part done.
Okay, so yeah, road R is a long way down the alphabet. So maybe do a Scrabble it, you know.
Well, it's more about what they keep stacking on my desk. So, like,
Oh,
this
I
is what they've stacked on my desk during this meeting. They've walked in, dropped it, walked back out on me.
you have to look after business.
Yeah.
Anybody have any other comments on that note that I sent out? I got a confirmation. I think, Dan, I sent you the copy from Jill that she has put the paperwork in motion to get that done. So if you let me, I guess Claire will let you know when she gets it.
Yeah.
If you let me know so I can stroke that off.
Okay.
And then I've been in touch with the Education Foundation regarding the schools, and I think I have that in order. So when I get to cutting the check, I'll get it to you, Wayne, somehow, and so we can mail it off to get.
Are you going to cut a check for each student?
No, I'm going to cut one check for the board for the 5,200, and then I'd send the instructions to the board as to which schools and how much to send to each school. And then the schools in turn will cut their checks to the students when they establish who the students are, and then they let us know who they were.
Okay.
So that's the way it can be done. And they have, I think I mentioned before that the board was only taking electronic donations. That's not quite true. They are accepting check situations, except they keep them there for a while. They don't process them every day, so it's slower to get the things cashed. But we have lots of time because they're not, well, it's only the beginning of May tomorrow. So the schools haven't designated the students yet. So we're in the proper time frame. If they're doing graduation ceremonies, they're not going to do them until the fall anyway. Whether they do them in the fall or not is another thing. I asked to what sort of numbers, was any change in the numbers of students participating in the university and community college programs to get in? And I talked to Gary Watson at Sir Winston Churchill, and he said from what he has seen so far, there's about 6 students who said no, they're not going to go to the next level, education level. They're going to go back and do another year at school because of the uncertainty of things out there. But he said generally, most of the students in Sir Winston Churchill are going through the normal process of applying to the higher.
Well, that process was back in January though, so we started getting results for
start.
January. You put the forms in. February, March, you start getting your answers.
You getting
Trust me, my kid racked up so many points on my credit card because you have to pay for each submission. He kept stealing my credit card in January to pay for it. So
Where is he going, Paul?
well, I think he's been accepted in McMaster and Western, but he wants to do another year now. There's a lot of stuff he missed. And this last semester, he's not going to, they're giving him like a 70 or 80% in these courses. And he's going, I'm not at the level that I need to be for chemistry and for algebra and things like that. He says, it's a joke for me he says, the way they're grading and the way they're doing this testing online, he says, we're not getting the content. So he's probably going
to back when I was in grade 13, the Hamilton board went on strike halfway through. They used our midterm marks as their finals, and I went to university. And I know it's a different situation because everyone's going to be behind, but it did hurt. I remember specifically calculus. I was right behind in economics because everybody else had grade 13 calculus, and I really didn't. So it put me behind first year for sure.
Is a bitch.
Yes. So and he missed a year of robots. Yeah. So I think he was already on the board. If I don't get into the schools I want, I might come back and do a grade 13. And we were fine with that because I don't think he's at the maturity level to move away and go to university at this point in time. I can't get him up before.
It's hard to believe any of them are. I mean, when you drive by the universities, they're so young. It's hard to believe.
Yeah.
Well, my son Alex, he also went twice to grade 12 because he didn't have the courses once he decided what to do, and then he had to go back and make sure that he did well in the courses. So he did an extra year as well.
Yeah, and it depends on your age, you know, how they put you in the grades when you start school, depending on when your birthday is. That the young kids, the same problem. Colin was one of those kids who was the youngest in his class all the way through. And when he went to university, his first year, he had really challenges from a point of view. He was a hell of a lot younger than most of the other kids there. So yeah, it's pretty tough for them. So going back for another year is a good option, particularly this year when, as you say, he's not up to that 80% knowledge base, and it would affect him the way Michael said later on.
Yeah, I told them I was going to pack them both up and send them to a farm because they're short workers at a farm. The one that doesn't get up till noon was a little upset. But my youngest follows me down the stairs at 6 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, now he's got I don't know if I have a shot of it or not, but he's got a whole green screen set up at the house. And he goes online with his class and he does all his homework. I don't think I have a picture. I was going to show you. He's got a green screen set up with a frame behind him. So he's got a different background that he puts on there. He's got a voice modulator. He spends about 5 hours with his classmates on Zoom.
Do they have an instructor too?
Yeah, they have. They switch off too. So like Mr. P, his homeroom teacher, he goes through about 2 hours worth of classroom.
Yeah.
And from like 8:30, 9 o'clock till like 11, they break for lunch. And then they'll have like the French teacher one day or the health teacher another day, or one of the other teachers comes on in the afternoon for an hour. And because I have this account, Jack just stays online and chats with his friends and goes and gets his lunch and comes back. And then the teacher joins his meeting. It's kind of, so he's like controlling who can come in and who can come out for the teacher. But that's what he does at school. I think he's going to be an AV, something with audio visual. He just loves that. He loves that aspect. So.
So do you feel that when all this thing is over, if it's over, that education is going to be handled differently and business is going to be handled differently?
I think Ford was really, really happy that this happened for the education part alone, because that's what he was pushing through, was virtual meetings and like virtual classrooms and things like that, and cutting back on the cost of education. So now he's gone out and he's proved, well, you guys just proved it works during the COVID, so we should be able to do this.
It's going to speed things up for sure.
Yeah, but will it work as far as the knowledge part of it, as far as educating the children?
I think the education curve has been sliding for the last 15 years.
More than that.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't know if my kids will know how to write when this is all done, because I can't get them to do it. And they're typing everything now.
Yes.
Have you tried to write lately? Though it's getting hard. Personally, it's getting harder for me to write. When I go to try to write something quickly, don't do it enough anymore.
No,
it's true.
That's right. You don't.
I don't know if you guys, it was a Disney movie, it was animation, but I don't know if you've ever seen WALL-E. WALL-E?
Yeah.
It's actually a really interesting film to watch about how the slope of man goes down. It's about robots that interact with people on a spaceship, right? And Wally's a garbage collector on the ground. But to watch what the people are like on this spaceship, this cruise ship, it's like they should be putting it on all the time right now, just to give people a jolt. They drive around in these little carts, like wheelchairs, but they're slides, and a Big Gulp company owns all the food production and everything. So they drive around with a Big Gulp in their cup holders, and they don't know how to read or write or do anything. The robots do it all for them. It's quite interesting. The first time I said it, I said, there's a lot of adult content in this movie that the kids are not going to get.
Dan, did Alex get the statements to you?
No.
No?
No.
Okay, because he picked them up at the post office and he said he'd get them to you. Do you need them, or does he?
Or scan them to me.
What?
Was he supposed to drop them off or scan them in and email me?
I took it from the email that he sent me that he was dropping them off.
Okay,
This
well,
was last week.
I'll check.
Yeah. So when you get them, do you want to send me copies of them?
I will.
Okay.
I'll check with him today.
Yeah. Okay.
Was
I've
my
nothing else to add. Anybody got anything to add?
No, but I like the idea about that one they mentioned, Claire mentioned, about their group getting together and supporting one local business.
Me too.
So maybe that's something we could throw around. Like I'm still trying to get through the 2-4 of Tall Boys that I bought at the George Hamilton, but it's just because my wife's keeping me, she's only allowed 2 a day type of thing. But we could do something like that. I do it with my staff. I order, there's a roadhouse up the street here called the Galley Pump. It's been around for 100 years. And I order chicken wings and stuff because they get their cars fixed here and they're doing delivery. So just an idea. We might want to do that. Maybe have a Rotary lunch where we order all the food from Michael or something.
Yeah.
So
then we could sit around and have our Rotary pickles.
So how do we get it delivered?
Oh yeah, you guys are in Burlington, aren't you?
Yeah, we're in
go
another
pick it up,
county,
Jim.
and there's a border that with the police on the Halton police are on the bridge there, the high level bridge.
That's not true, because I've been sneaking birthday donuts and stuff through to my godchildren in Burlington. Good Friday, I ran out my annual fish. I do a fish fry on Good Fridays, and we usually have 4 families that come. So Friday, I actually packed up fish and chips on Good Friday, and we went out and we had a canoe paddle with a hockey stick duct taped to it. So we pulled it in the car and we slid it out by the canoe paddle through the window to their front window. They got a video of it and stuff. It was quite funny.
What we can do is curbside pickup, decide on a parking lot, park, and all open window and talk to each other. Sit in our own cars.
Yeah, and bring along $800 to pay the
Actually, that would actually work.
Yeah,
We had some customers that weren't following guidelines here where they're hanging around for their cars, and I told them they're not allowed to hang around. So they were standing out, 3 or 4 of them when they were standing out on the road, on the sidewalk by the road, and bylaw actually drove by and was checking out what was going on. So somebody's calling. I noticed in my townhouse complex, people aren't really, they're not keeping the distance they should. And they have a hotline in Hamilton, and it's being used because we see bylaws show up when people are hanging around.
Yeah, you're right. My brother had his 60th birthday on Monday, and he told me a few people were coming down. And I said, well, you know what? I'll see you during the week. I don't think that's going to be good. Sure enough, someone called bylaw.
You're kidding.
One of his neighbors called bylaw. I don't know how many, I haven't talked to how many people were there, but they gave him a warning.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they could have ticketed all of them that were there. And I don't know, I guess there was maybe 7 or 8 people.
One of my wife's friends at work was running through a park in Burlington. It was like an open air park. It wasn't cordoned off or anything. But because she stopped to tie up her shoelace, the bylaw enforcement officer told her she had to keep moving. She wasn't allowed to hesitate. She was stopping to tie up her shoelace. No one around her.
Extreme.
Yeah, so there's a little bit of a power struggle there too. So I'm a little concerned when I see the bylaw car.
Yeah.
And then mine, I have a big Putney sticker on the side of it, so it kind of looks like a bylaw vehicle, and it's hilarious to see people scatter when you pull into a parking lot.
Well, Una, of course, lives in Quebec, and she has to go into Ottawa the odd time. And when she's coming back over into Quebec, she's stopped on the bridge by the police every time to find out where she's going and why she was in Ottawa. Yeah, so they're really clamping down on things.
I wonder if they'd stop Justin when he's going up to his cottage.
Up to Harrington Lake, yeah. Of course, Harrington Lake's isn't that in Quebec? Yeah, it is.
Yeah, I think
Of
it
course,
is.
he has to cross over.
Yeah.
On that note, Spain has been experimenting with ozone treatment for COVID-19, and they're actually I think, very successful. I shared it on Facebook.
Yeah, but don't you know that Mr. Trump put that out?
Don't be dissing my man.
He does it all by himself. You don't have to.
Yeah.
Actually, I was talking to somebody, her whole family lives in the US. I talked to her yesterday, and she said, all my family supports him. I'm shocked.
Well, we'll see you in November. If you keep
Well,
shooting.
if their financial improvement is improvement over the last 3 years or so, then there's support, of course. If their lives have improved, that's simple.
Wow.
I'm trying to be a Rotarian and not comment.
Yeah. Okay.
But if you want my commentary,
I try to
look
be
at my
Rotarian and not let your
Going
Facebook
out.
bother me.
Facebook post. I was just gonna say, if you want my truth,
I've gone to respond so many times, I just delete it. It's like, whatever.
Yeah. I no longer turn the TV on for news.
I had somebody on my Facebook say, this is all fake news. You shouldn't be posting it. I said, this is a video of Donald Trump talking. There's no commentary on it. It's just him at a news conference. How is that fake news?
Because they choose their clips.
No, it's him getting up and talking. There was that whole thing about the shove a light up your butt thing,
Oh, yeah.
expose your lungs to freaking disinfectant and all that. And they're telling me it's fake news. I said, his lips matched the vocals. He actually said that.
You know what is ironic? How ill-educated society is, and they would actually believe that.
Well, that's right. Yeah. Good point. Yeah.
That is my issue. I'm thinking, can anybody believe this? That means there's so much ignorance in the society, even in Canada. There's so much.
Mostly in the U.S.
Most of we have a lot of our own too. Trust me.
So Dan, did Stoney Creek Minuteman, are they getting behind that Bounce Back Canada thing?
I haven't had a chance to look into it.
Okay.
Because I'm dealing with my flood situation, so it's not a priority right now. But
I get it.
yeah, I will be looking into it once I resolve all my other issues.
How's your flood going?
Well, I'm waiting for the insurance company, and they're moving at a snail's pace. Obviously, there must be so many car accidents out there.
Oh,
I don't know what, I have no idea what's going on. Very slow response from them. And they're supposed to be a good company, I'm told. So very disappointed in the way they're taking their time with everything.
so they
They need to okay to go to the next level, because we need work done here and carpets cleaned, floors washed, and so, left messages for the guy, and he's not calling me back. So I'm actually seeing my insurance broker tomorrow, so maybe they can put a fire up his ass.
Well, sure. Yeah.
Quite disappointing.
Which,
All that money for
who's-
insurance. I figured that over the last 17 years that I've been here, I paid them over $800,000 in premiums. And I'm dicking around with a $15,000 claim.
Yeah.
And they can't be busy because there's not a lot going on. So.
No, I mean, the insurance companies, they're even giving premium rebates now because you're not driving your car as much.
Yeah, but they're nailing my business insurance. Just went up $1,000 a year extra. So
Is
they're
that right?
nailing businesses.
Yeah, but that's probably based on last year's results.
Nah, because if they don't make it on cars, they nail house insurance and business insurance.
Yeah.
How they make their money.
I have to excuse myself from the meeting, folks, so I'll talk to you next week, I guess.
All right.
Yeah.
See you,
Okay.
Michael.
Take care.
I gotta
We
get
might as well
going.
wrap things up, all for the good of Rotary.
All for the good. Now,
All right.
so are we going to meet once a week, or are we going to meet every 2 weeks?
What's best for you guys?
Well, I don't think we have enough to do every week, so every 2 weeks would be good.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I think
Okay.
so.
Okay.
If you guys want to make a point of sending me some information, articles, I'll try and get it on the website, maybe some pictures. Just email me stuff.
If something comes up, we can have a meeting.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'll set it for 2 weeks today. You guys,
Right.
are you guys okay with the 10 a.m.?
Yeah.
Yes.
That's
Yeah.
okay. Yeah.
Yeah, it just seems like a better time. I get through my rush. It's before everybody wants to go on lunch.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
maybe we can plan at the next meeting, look at doing something like having lunch together or whatever.
Okay.
Maybe we can do care packages and mail them out the day before.
Yeah.
Right?
With beer.
With
With
beer, I think beer definitely has to happen. Yes.
There you go.
Well, if
Okay.
Mike was not here, but if he makes a day before, I'll deliver it all.
Okay. You guys have a great day.
Okay, you too.
Bye.
Bye-bye.